Welcome to another installment of 10 Words or Less, in which I ask interesting questions in brief of interesting people and request brief answers in return. I'm Michael Prager, a professional speaker, well-being and lifestyle coach, and an author. I recently published my second book, Sustainable You, which asks the question, what's the point of trying to sustain the planet if we're not also trying to sustain ourselves? But enough about me. Today's guest and I met at the National Speakers Association convention in Washington, D.C. last summer. And as I'm sure happens to her quite often, I knew within a few sentences into our conversation that I was going to want to know more about her story and that I was going to want to share it with you. And it took us a while to work that out, but here we are. She's a very successful public health advocate in her native Great Britain, a role that was all but thrust upon her in 1999 when she almost died in a fiery train crash that killed 31 people and injured 227, including her. She required scores of surgeries over the next 18 months and became the public face of the accident known as the Lady in the Mask. Now, here's my usual advisory to those of you playing at home. 10 words is an ethic, not a rule, so please, no counting. It's not that easy, and to paraphrase a college buddy of mine, let's see you do it before you spout off. So, Pam, obviously I know the answer to this. I don't think I'll know the answer to too many more questions, but I know the answer to this. I still ask it every time. Please spell your first and last names as you would like it to appear.
Okay, my first name is Pam, P-A-M, and second name is Warren, W-A-R-R-E-N.
Thank you. So, born, when, and where? And please be as specific as you're willing to be about both of those.
Sorry, you broke up slightly.
Yeah, just to everyone at home, Pam obviously is in Britain. I'm on the East Coast of the United States, and we don't know if this is going to work out because of the quality of the connection. I'll try again, Pam. Where were you born and when, please? And be specific as you're willing to be.
Okay. Being born is a bit difficult because I've always been told it was Singapore, but my birth certificate says the UK, so I'm not 100% sure. And when was 1967?
And you're not willing to share the day?
February 1967, 16th, just gone.
February 1957 or 67?
No, I don't look that old, do I? No, 1967.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I heard maybe it's because I'm born in 57 that's what I heard the first time. So February 1967. Okay, and the other thing, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry to everyone listening for all the repetition that we may need to do. You said it's a bit of a mystery because you were always told blank, but your birth certificate says UK. Could you fill in the blank? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, my biological father was in the British Army and he was posted in Singapore. So as far as I know, that's where I was born and grew up. But my birth certificate, which is not a full birth certificate, it's only an extract, states an army camp back in Britain, which is how I'm a British citizen. But it's possible that, yes, I was born in Singapore.
I understand. That's an odd circumstance. A lot of people, when you said, well, that's kind of difficult to answer, that's usually not. How does it feel to not know?
I don't mind. I think it makes me slightly different. And I like the idea, because my mother's Fijian and my father was Indian. I quite like the idea that I've come from a very multicultural background.
So your mother was from Fiji and your dad was from India?
Originally, yes, but as I said, he worked for the British Army, so he
Sure.
got shipped around a lot.
I get it. Okay, so Very interesting stuff. Thanks for sharing. Where do you live now?
I live in the UK.
Yes. Are you willing to say where? Not your street address.
Yeah. A town called Reading, which is about 50 miles outside of London.
50 miles outside London.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, don't want to pry into your deepest, darkest details. What is your family circumstance? Married, children, divorced, anything?
I have been married, but I'm divorced now. Have been for 10 years. And I live alone with 2 cats. I don't have any children.
Is one of the cats your favorite, and does the other one know this?
I treat them the same, though they have very different characters.
Okay, if I could explain to the folks at home, Pam already knows this. If there are any lags in the conversation, it's not just social ineptitude on my part. I'm taking notes, and she knows about it, and she's cool with it. So just so you know. So Pam, how would you? What do you do for work?
I'm a professional speaker. I speak to companies and individuals, mainly at conferences all around the world.
Begs the question: what do you talk to them about?
Well, I take the experience I had, not just during the train crash, but also beforehand and afterwards, my recovery and my campaigning. And I use those experiences to teach individuals and companies how to face their own challenges in a smarter and a different way.
Great. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I actually wanted to breed horses. I wanted to be a horse trainer.
And how long did that idea last?
I think it's most girls' fantasy, so it faded by the time I was 16.
Okay. Someone outside your family who has inspired you?
That would definitely have to be my speaking mentor, Alan Stevens, simply because, I don't know, I just admire the way he approaches the industry and helping other speakers. A very giving person.
Thank you. Glad to know about him. I'll check him out. I have heard the name, but I don't know much more. If I may just slip in my own relating, a guy named Pete Wiseman, who founded Thought Leader Communications and who is also a member of NSA, has been as generous and giving as you describe Alan, and I'm always happy to share that information. He's generous. I want to be generous about his generosity. So,
can you see we've been joined by a cat? Sorry about this.
Tell me, which cat was it?
This one's called Charlie.
Charlie. Well, I'll give my best to Charlie. So, what did you do before the crash? Your life was going along until it was so horribly interrupted. What were you doing?
I was selling pension schemes to companies. I was a pensions advisor.
I'm sorry, I missed a word. I was selling pension
schemes
to
companies. Yeah.
Okay. What is something about financial advising that still guides you?
Oh, I still like watching the market. With my own finances, I'm very strict with them, but I do invest money and watch the market.
Okay. Is there a way in which you would say that public speaking is like financial advising?
No. Financial advising was very matter of fact. What was right, and what was wrong. Public speaking is being more in touch with emotions and guiding people and advising them without being dictatorial.
All right, please say the last couple words. They were a little garbled for me.
Yeah, public speaking is more emotional and more connective, I suppose is the right word. And you're offering guidance rather than dictating what somebody should do.
Okay. Why were you on that train that day?
I was going to a training course to become an even better financial advisor. So I was just travelling into London to go on that course.
Again, I was traveling into London
to attend the course.
All right.
For the exams I was sitting.
I get it. What's a memory that sticks with you?
Obviously, the train crash, unfortunately. Right, I was hoping,
was there something specific, a detail?
It's really difficult to pin down because I still get flashbacks and nightmares of the crash itself. So unfortunately, that's a relevant memory for me, the experience of what it was like.
Get it. What was the worst part about it?
It was mainly how it felt. And that one point in your life when you know you're going to die. So it was how I felt when I thought at that time I was going to die.
Well, I'll just ask and you can tell me it's stupid if you want. What was the best part of your experience?
The best part?
Yeah.
The one I remember fondly is when I woke up from my coma and I looked straight into the eyes of my sister, and the love I felt for seeing my beloved sister. I'll never forget that, and I still love her to pieces now.
That's awesome. Unless you think it would be a privacy violation for her, you've mentioned someone who's very dear to you. Do you mind telling us her name?
Yes, her name is Stephanie.
Stephanie. And I want to spell it right. Stephanie?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. Okay. What's a policy lesson that you took from the crash?
Sorry, you broke up again a bit.
Okay. A policy lesson that you derived from the crash.
Is probably you are stronger than you realize. When I woke up in hospital and realized what injuries I had, there was still a possibility that I would die. So I've always been amazed at the resilience of the human body and the human spirit to fight back and survive.
Get it. Now, I will definitely blame this on technology, but you asked, believe it or not, you asked my next question, which was a personal lesson that you derived from the crash. But could you tell me a policy lesson? I know that partly, you became an advocate. What is something, the circumstances of the crash that led you to advocate for a particular policy?
That was more injustice. The train crash would never have happened. The reason it did was because the authorities put profit before safety, and that to me was unjust. And so I decided to take the fight to the authorities.
So Pam, please tell me, why did you become an advocate? Lots of people were involved in that, and lots of them just wanted to get back to their lives. What was different for you?
I'm angry at the injustice of what happened. What happened was purely because the authorities, the government and the rail industry, have put profit before safety. And that has endangered our lives. And I didn't want that ever happening again to anyone else. So I suppose morally, I felt with the media interest in my plastic mask and the fact that the public were listening, I decided to take on the government and the rail industry and force them to make things better on our railway system.
Thank you. So my reading tells me you're one of the top dozen speakers in your country. How does that feel?
Oh, polls, don't you? So, to be honest, I don't tend to pay a lot of attention to that. It's more, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. People seem to get something that they then, for that, I'm happy. I'm content.
As you'll recall, we were going to speak 2 weeks ago, and I asked to postpone it. So my questions I prepared then, and honestly, I don't remember why I wrote this one down, but I'm going to ask it. Maybe it means something to you, or maybe it's just one that'll get cut out later. Did you write your Wikipedia page?
No, I don't think you can you?
I believe so. I've seen, they often have these legends at the top of the page that says there's a problem with this page because, and then there are lots of different reasons. And I've seen one that says this one appears to have been written by the subject, but I didn't see that on yours. But I wish I had left myself some notes about why I wondered whether you would, if you had written it. But like I said, in the printed version, that question won't have. Well, let me ask you this: have you ever looked at your Wikipedia page?
Once. I looked at it once only because I wanted to check when I first heard I was at, they hadn't got something horribly wrong.
Fair enough. I'd want to know too. I'm pretty sure I could say I haven't checked mine, but I'm pretty sure. Well, I would be very surprised if I had one. So, so I haven't gone. But I think if I did know about it, I'd have checked it too. I can't imagine anyone who doesn't want to check at least once. And a little embarrassed to say, I think I'm the kind of person who would check more than once. Anyway, tell me something that people don't understand.
What, about me or life?
It's a very broad question, and you get to answer it in 10 words or less.
What people don't understand.
Yes.
Part of post-traumatic stress disorder is depression. I think a lot of people don't understand it is a illness. It's not something you can just get over, which I think is a shame.
I want to make sure I understood you correctly. I think a lot of people don't understand that illness is not just something you can just get over.
No, depression.
Oh, depression. Thank you. Oh, yeah. So you have experience with depression?
It is part of the PTSD from the train crash. I suffer from depression now and then.
Well, I can relate. So do I. For me, for many years, more than half my life, I considered it a moral issue. I should be able to overcome this, so I don't need any drugs or medication for it. I should be able to be strong, so I will. And that did not work at all. Is there anything in that resonates for you?
Yes, that's why I say most people don't realize it's a physical illness, not just a mental illness. You can't pull your socks up and get on with it. You need help. But that can be medication, or it could be therapies, or it could be just the love of your family. Whatever works for you.
Good, thank you. So what's next for you? I don't mean right after this call, although you can answer it that way. What's next for you?
To be honest, I don't. I just accept each day as it comes. I have vague plans, but they haven't changed much. Traveling more, speaking more, enjoying life. So I don't have any firm plans. I don't have any firm goals. I just want to know that when I have to face death a second time, I'm going to look back and say, that was fun.
The last part of that was, I'm going to look back and say that was fun, correct?
My life, yeah. I want to look back and say life was fun.
Excellent. You know, I'm out of questions. I thank you for spending the time. I find myself thinking that even though I know more about your experience from what you've shared with us, that, you know, I'm really big on relating, and, you know, that moment you described where you knew you were going to die, and then you just went back there, you know, when I faced death a second time. I don't think, I can't relate because it's never happened to me, and it's not like I feel envious, God no, but I do find that you know, I can't get close to that moment just because it's something one experiences or doesn't. Would you agree with that?
I don't. I think that's a hard question. I don't really understand what you're trying to get at. Is it that you don't feel that you can appreciate it because you haven't been close to death? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah. Do you find that perhaps among other people who were in the crash, you know, that you have you share an understanding about an event that people who weren't in it can be sympathetic toward, but they really can't relate the way people who've actually experienced it?
Well, I in some of my talks, when I'm asked to, I describe the actual crash, and I describe it quite vividly. And I have had people crying, you know, not meaning to, but they have begun to feel possibly what was going on. But I think you're right. People who have had to face death, train crash, we seem to come out and we have a different appreciation of life. Our goals change, our belief system changes, and what we want to get from life before we have to die. Yeah.
Okay, so it makes me wish I had asked about that. What I heard you just say, when I have to face death the second time, I hope I'm going to look back and say that was fun. Would you say that is, you know, a fundamental change that happened as a result?
Yeah. Yeah. Before the train crash, it was all. Since the train crash, it's been more, not just fun, but also giving back as well.
Well, thank you. It's not. I'm sure I don't want to overstate I'm sure it's not what you meant when you just said that, but thank you for giving me and giving us the time today so that we could learn a little bit more about your experience. I don't know when we might run into each other again. It was great the first time. This was fabulous. I appreciate knowing more about your experience, and thank you very much, Pam.
Thank you, Michael.
You bet. You bet. So as I said, I will do a transcript and I'll send it to you, and then we'll print something for a second post on my blog. Thank you very much and have a good day.